Welcome back to Views with Views of Jennifer News. This is Jerome Hughes, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so that way you be notified of future uploads and updates. So coming in from Hollywood Reporter, we've all known now that Writers Guild is currently on strike. Okay, also want to thank you all for viewing my last video on this particular subject and really appreciate your support. But right now we're going to talk about how AI could possibly replace writers one day. I mean, it seems to me like it's going to be happening soon. I mean, quite frankly, co-director of Avengers, Endgame and Infinity War, one of the Russo brothers predicted that in the 2 years after they finish that movie, AI could be taking over for the scripts. So says here that as writers strike, AI could covertly cross the picket line. So this is coming in from Hollywood Reporter. So I'm not going to read the article in its entirety, but I'm going to read some key points from it. It says here, once again, a strike is happening, like the one from back in 2007, as well as the previous one from the 90s, during a period of widespread economic uncertainty spurred by inflation, concerns of a recession, and mass layoffs in media and entertainment. But this time around, there's a twist: the ascension of generative artificial intelligence. If half the internet can be tricked by an AI created Drake and The Weeknd collab, could that same tech write scripts and enable studios to create more content for less money? In other words, could these writers be replaced by robots or androids, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth? So moving along, says somebody was quoted saying this, who is this John August from the Aladdin and Big Fish movies as the writer. The challenge is we want to make sure that these technologies are tools used by writers and not tools used to replace writers. So in other words, he's trying to justify writers being, less creative and still should stay and have a job, which is pretty foolish, by the way, because back then writers were actually creative. It's just nowadays you have you have writers who aren't really creative, but instead they're continuing to add political ideologies into their work just so they can follow along with the studio executives. Okay. It also says here, the worry is that down the road, you can see some producer or executive trying to use one of these tools to do a job that a writer really needs to be doing. That's already happening, according to Amy Webb, founder and CEO of Future Today Institute, which does long-range scenario planning as consultation for Fortune 500 companies and Hollywood creators. She notes, I've had a couple of higher level people ask if a strike does happen, how quickly could they spin up an AI system to just write the scripts? And they're serious because the writers are going on strike demanding better pay as well as, other conditions, even though they're making a good amount of money, more than like a lot of people thought the US. But the thing is, these companies, the executives that actually gave them the green light to put the woke content out there, they're all of a sudden is finding themselves in a moment where they've lost money and they may not be able to afford the writers. Heck, as a matter of fact, even the late night show hosts just had their shows canceled because their writers are on strike. Not canceled permanently, but it's been halted basically. All right. So now we see here that it says here, writer and executive producer on a streaming show on the picket line in front of Warner Brothers Discovery. Yes, they are really protesting not only against the union, but the organization that they're trying to negotiate with, but they're also striking against David Zaslav. All right. The writer and executive producer on a streaming show on the picket line in front of a Warner Brothers Discovery's light noted one conundrum from writers: how much of the fear over AI is hype and how much is reality? In the last strike, the WGA was fighting to get the internet covered despite not knowing that the internet would soon be the entire industry. So could AI be crypto or could it be the internet? This person asks. We don't know if it's going to, S the bed and become nothing or replace all of us. Web does a thing. AI could cross the picket line effectively on most projects, but an exception might be a long-running procedural like Law and Order. You've got a massive corpus. It's formulaic, and a lot of the storylines are ripped from the headlines. In other words, not so creative. So you've got the data sources that you need, Webb says. To be clear, she doesn't think writers can be replaced by machines. What I'm saying is the conditions are right in certain cases for an AI potentially to get the script 80% of the way there, and then have writers who would cross the picket line to do that last 20% of polishing and shaping. So in other words, you can basically use ChatGPT to create your own show or create a script based off of a show that's actually on television or has been on the air, but it's off the air now. And then you go ahead and make the rest of the tweaks. But in order to do that, you got to be really specific in what kind of show you want, as well as the fact that if you even want a script from ChatGPT, that's the only way to get it, is by being really specific, okay? And they're saying here that the writers would make adding the more 20% of the 80% of the script that the ChatGPT puts out there, okay? So August continues to saying that writers want to make sure AI generated scripts can be considered literary material, which is anything from a treatment to a screenplay that a WGA member would be hired to write as source material, which includes existing IP like books and video games that are adopted. At the end of the day, the script needs to be written by a writer, and the writer needs to be a human being who is a member of the Writers Guild of America. That's all we're saying, says Sasha Stewart, a member of the WGA East Council, who most recently worked on the Netflix docuseries Amend, The Fight for America. I guarantee you all that some of these writers have already used ChatGPT or AI to go ahead and write the scripts, and then they will go ahead and add their touch to it to make some changes, and then get it out there to the executives to sell it to them. I guarantee you that's what's happening in most cases, because if they're actually about to go against AI, then that will make them a hypocrite, especially if they've used AI to create these different scripts, because of the fact that, well, like I said often, they lack creativity, you know. Talent lawyer, Oh, that makes sense. They're saying, oh, no. Maybe we'll have a conversation about it once every few years. Talent lawyer Darren Tratner notes that a writer is defined in the basic agreement as a person, and the WGA could theoretically forbid AI from working on guild projects, but functionally, it might not be possible. So yeah, we have writers here who fears that AI may replace them. You also have writers who feel that AI won't get the job done and that the companies are still going to need them. But little do they know, it's like some of these companies may replace them either with better writers or artificial intelligence, you know. But that seems to me that might be the kind of reality that we're currently living in. All right. Where it's the fault of the writers and the executives that gave them the green light to go ahead and put this kind of content out there. Well, they write the scripts and then have different directors and producers to put the content out there. All right. But no one can share this blame with them. They can only blame themselves because of the fact that they lost their core audience. And sadly enough, it's a shame where artificial intelligence will do a better job at creating shows and movies than a human being would. Why? Because nowadays everything is just political, and not to mention woke. You know, these companies trying to get people to invest in their ESG, DEI models and stuff, where they don't even care about it in the first place. But guess what? They're hiring writers, and these writers some of these writers are looking to go ahead and use stuff like ChatGPT to write stories, articles, even scripts, and then they add their touch to it. But what do I know? You know, I'm just a fan who enjoys entertainment. I just don't enjoy the kind of entertainment that comes on television, like 911, Magnum PI, so on and so forth anymore. Why? Because of the fact that they're just too much virtue signaling. Way too much virtue signaling now. To the point where they're trying to get people invested in the initiatives that they're trying to put out there. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you think that AI is actually going to replace writers, or do you think the writers are going to continue to use stuff like ChatGPT, and then add their little touch to it, so that way they can work less and they can add their own little spin to it? Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Let me know when we're wrong in the video. Also, be sure to like the video and share it far wide across social media if you enjoyed what I shared in it. And if you enjoyed all the content I put out there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so that way you've been notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.